Well, I'll answer your question. I'm in the field of healing and arts. I'm in the field of the healing arts. So it's the same. What is a shaman? It's certainly not me, the shaman. It's certainly the person who says they're a shaman, let's say that they are, it's not them, the shaman, the one who takes a shit, the one who ate chocolate, the one who likes sports, the one who just bought a new shirt. That's not the shaman. Shaman is a spirit. So let's, for the sake of conversation, presume that I'm a shaman or a medicine man. The medicine man, I'm not talking about a medical doctor. It's a field, the field of healing. And that field of healing it's a branch of the tree of life. And it's a field with the ancients and ancestors who came before and will come in the future. And it has a function in the context of life as a whole and dharma. And if you are one of those guys, then you have to learn how to first discover, quote unquote, the shaman in you. And that's clearly not me. Who am I? I'm a snot face. I'm nobody. So that very mortal aspect of you, this limited part of yourself, has to fade away so that whatever is in you emerges. And that is now part of something greater than you and itself. So if, let's say, I'm a shaman, like, for example, Kobe Bryant is a basketball player, so the black Mamba awakens, so the equivalent for me would awaken, let's presume or pretend. Right? And that also will have a name, which it does. And that now is part of a pantheon in a game. And you have a team. So when I do my work, it's not me who's doing the work, it's that thing that's doing the work in correlation with its team within the field of healing. It's the same. Healing arts is a sport like basketball. It's just subtle. You don't understand it. We go to battle. Do we ever? You couldn't even imagine in your wildest dreams. Right? It's a field. And you have your coaches, and there's a whole world and a whole organization. It's subtle, but it is there. So if we put this aside and we go back to, let's presume I'm a medicine man, for the sake of conversation, so there's a higher part of myself, if we can call it like this, that is not limited to my mortality and my physicality, that kicks in. And that already knows. That's my teacher and has been my teacher, and it had to deal with my mortality and my stupidity. And as it's taught me, my stupidity is removed, at least temporarily. As an expert in your field, it means you know how to remove the stupidity of yourself, so that kicks in. And as you start to become, you better understand it, for example, the black Mamba, if he did that, I doubt that he did, but probably Wayne Gretzky did it for sure. But as you discover this, your spirit, for example, I didn't say soul, I said spirit. These are choices of words. So now you start to discover that and who and to what it's connected to and from where it gets its fuel, its knowledge stream. Because you're just one nodule in a greater organization, just like LeBron James is connected to an organization, which is connected to a league, which is connected to an overall spirit. There's no such thing as an individual. This is just an illusion. And it's unfortunate that people still believe in that, and that's why you're sick and confused. There's no such thing. So again, let's presume that I'm a medicine man and a shaman, and you may be wondering why I say let's presume. I'll tell you some other time. So whatever aspect of myself is a shaman, it's plugged into a council. Just like in sports leagues, there's a council. You're not on your own. That knowledge, you cannot contain all that knowledge. There's a council that holds the knowledge. You may or may not be part of the council. You may be an up-and-coming future member of the council. You may be a young Padawan, but there's the council that represents the knowledge, and you may have a specific branch of it, specialization or expertise. So let's say when I'm doing my work, that kicks in. When I was a kid, when I was a beginner, I didn't understand fuck all about anything. So I was in the way all the time. My insecurities, I should do this, I should be like this, I don't know like this, trying to repeat the techniques that I learned in school. I never gave a fuck about techniques because it bores the fuck out of me. A technique is there to compensate for the lack of actual connection. It could have its purpose. Let's not get into that. We'll discuss this another time. So I was just clumsy. But I noticed that something was happening regardless of me. So then it goes up to your head because it's convenient. You want to boast your ego. Look at me, look at me, look at me. I can do this, I can do that, I can do this. Then, of course, I got demolished. And then you start to better understand how the game works. And then when you're good, you're like, I totally couldn't care less. If there's a sincere candidate, I've put myself in the position, let what needs to express itself express itself. It does. When the client leaves, I'm back to my usual dumb self. What's for food? Fuck, there's no chocolate. Who am I going to text? If you understand what I mean. So I went from that, like if you would ask the patient, they just had a cosmic experience, they leave and I'm like a monkey, what am I going to eat? That's gone. It's not gone, it's there now. There's always a relation to it, but it's not active, it's not turned on. So every field is like this. Some fields are way bigger. Some fields are very small. This is not a question of judgment. It's just a question of, it's just so that we have a sense that it's not all art forms, or not all powers, or not all gods are equal. There's a hierarchy within the gods. They are also organized. And every field that you enter is also organized. And everyone aspires to grow in your own self, in your own power, and join the ranks of the council. It's not maybe for you, but that's what you aspire to. And if you don't, you want to be close to it because that's where the power is at. That's where the heat is coming from. I don't know if you're going to understand what I'm saying. If you don't, I think maybe it's cool. I'm not sure if my flow is 100%, but it sounds okay. This is in the healing arts. Clearly, as a teacher, there's the same phenomena, but that would require us to define what is a teacher, and I'm just not in the mood for this right now. But it's the same. Teaching is an art form, and the teacher is the revelator of truth. And there's truth in different fields. So if you're in math, so you're a teacher, you're a revelator of truth in math. If you're a teacher in optical physics, so you're a revelator of truth in this. So depending on what kind of teacher you are, then you're going to be a mouthpiece for that truth, which means, here we go again, the same process happens. The teacher is now part of a conglomerate of that knowledge, of that power. And as you're a mere mortal and the teacher in you, not everybody's a teacher. Everybody'd like to be a teacher, like to pretend that they're a teacher, but I tell you, for I've gone into school more than your average person times 10, not everybody's a teacher. Most people are not. Some are instructors, not to confuse with a teacher. A teacher is somebody who can infuse and activate something inside yourself. Not everybody can do that. Not everybody's designed to do that, nor will we like everybody to do that. So one thing at a time. So as a teacher, which is a spirit, it's not some geek in academia who may be a geek in academia and be a teacher. Let's not confuse things. You're tuned into the knowledge, a certain kind of stream of knowledge, and of course there are spirits there, and that's how everything works. You may not know that this is going on, but it is going on, and you don't need to know that it's going on to do what you got to do. But once you want to rise in the ranks, you want to become better at what you do, you want to become Wayne Gretzky, you don't have a choice but to discover those things. Because that's part of the game. You need to pay your dues, you need to respect the gods, you need to respect the elders, you need to understand that you're just a servant. So Wayne Gretzky was 100% clear about that. That's what I loved about that guy. Even though he's just playing hockey. I don't want to minimize hockey, but he's just playing hockey. And in his books, he would always talk about the black and white hockey players that for us who grew up in this era, it's like, why are we always talking about these guys that don't exist for us? And he made it a point, it was always there to remind you this sport, and in the form that we know it, in the NHL, came from a bunch of people that came before. And these guys were in love with the game, just like the guys who are playing today were in love with the game, but the game was different, and they were servants of that game, and each one served as a catalyst to allow the game to evolve so it came to the form that it is today. This is hockey. So everything is the same. Hockey is just, let's say it exists for 200 years. It doesn't, less. Basketball exists for 100 years. Canadian sport. When we talk about the healing arts, we're talking about a game that is existing for thousands of years. And then there are greater games that have been existing since the very beginning of creation itself. That's why I mean there's small games and big games. So when we talk about yoga, not those girls in their fancy outfits with their nice round little bubble butts. That's not yoga. That's Americana. That's that confused shit. When we talk about yoga, the science of unification, that comes hand in hand with the creation from Lord Shiva himself. Whoever that is for you, doesn't really matter, from a deity. So, like I said, it always comes from a deity that is the embodiment of that knowledge. So that can we agree we're talking about a whole other level of the game than like Jimmy Page and his electric guitar, right? Which doesn't mean that I cannot appreciate that song. I love that song. It's divine in a satanic kind of way. Still divine though, but in a satanic kind of way. I ain't got nothing against Satan, he's my homeboy, but let's just be clear. Versus, we're talking about the science of life itself. It's a whole other spectrum, man. We're talking about something that existed since the beginning of time that nobody knows. Right? Nobody knows since when it started. So we're talking about a whole other game level. So that's what I had to say about this. I hope that I've answered your question that you may not even have had.